Greetings, Bat Family, and welcome back to Holy BatCast, brought to you by Real Fans for Real Movies. You can find us all over social media on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Just search for Holy BatCast, you'll find us. And if you're a big fan of the show, you want to support us, you can do that on Patreon. You don't have to, no pressure, but if you would like to, you can go to patreon.com/holybatcast. And as always, a big thank you to our patrons. You guys are awesome. We really do appreciate your support. You make the show that much easier to keep rolling, and it is appreciated. So big thank you. We're a proud part of the Real Fans Podcast Network. You can check out all those shows at rf4rm.com. And as always, I'm your Bat host, Andy DiGenova. You can find me on Instagram, Blue Sky, and Letterboxd. It's always just my name, Andy DiGenova. And this episode, we're going to do something fun that we did a while ago, maybe a year ago, maybe longer. I don't remember when we did it last, but we look back around. We're going to talk about some more Batman commercials. And the timing worked out because it just so happened that we got a brand new cool Batman commercial this week. And it wasn't planned that way. We were going to do the commercial episode anyway. And then State Farm was like, oh, surprise. Here's this big budget, amazing cinematic Batman commercial. So I'm like, well, great. We'll cover them all. And so I'm excited to talk about some retro commercials and then also the brand new cool commercial. So joining me for that are my two commercial buddies who usually you hear me talking with them about holiday commercials on Real Fans for Real Movies, but they joined me for Batman commercials here before and they're back again. And that is my pals, Michael and Scott. So first of all, out there in Burbank, California, Scott Hopkins, welcome back to Holy BatCast.
Well, thank you for having me back. It's been a while.
It has, especially for this show.
Yeah.
I mean, it hasn't been a while since we podcasted together.
I know that was Tuesday.
That was 2 days ago, but it's been a while for BatCast.
Yeah, totally.
And then also right here down the street, about 15 minutes down the street, is Michael Lyons. Hey, Michael.
Hey, any excuse to talk commercials, and especially these commercials with both of you. I will jump at that chance. So thanks for having me back.
It's always a pleasure. I mean, the three of us love talking retro stuff.
Yep.
We love talking commercials. And so, yeah, I wanted to do this again. Plus, we're in kind of a holiday dead zone.
Yeah.
We don't usually do an Easter commercial special, although we could try. I'm open to trying. So, yeah, this is gets us through. It almost makes it feel like a holiday.
Yeah.
Totally.
And when you're a Batman fan, every day is Batman Day.
That's right.
So it is a holiday. But we are going to talk some Batman commercials, some old and some new. But before we do that, just checking in on everybody. Hope everybody out there is doing well. Busy as always. I'm sure that you guys are doing like I am. You're juggling life, trying to keep everything going, but also trying to find some time for yourself. And when you are juggling that much, it's good to find some tools that are going to help you out. And that's why I use Magic Mind. So I've been very happy to use Magic Mind and integrate it into just my daily routine. It's super easy. I just grab it out of the fridge on my way to work in the morning. But by taking it in the morning on my drive in, it just gives me that extra little boost and focus for the day so I can be super productive at work. I get a lot done. I can balance everything that's going on. And that way when I get home, I can kind of put that aside and focus on my family. So Magic Mind is just a nice little extra boost that I can take. I love that it's like a peaceful focus that it gives you. It's not like an energy drink, doesn't make you jittery, anything like that. And it's all natural, so I can feel good about taking it. And then I feel the results. They also have a sleep shot, so if you need help getting peaceful sleep, Magic Mind's got you covered there. So they have a lot of good options to help you out. And again, just another tool that you can add to your utility belt. So if you're looking at trying Magic Mind, you can go to magicmind.com/holybatcast20. You can save 48% on a subscription, or for a one-time purchase, you save 20% off. And they're so confident in what they do, they will give you a money-back guarantee. So if you take the dive, you try some Magic Mind, you're not happy, return it. They'll send you your money back. But again, I've been very happy with mine. And you know what? Whatever we can do to just help out our busy lives, Magic Mind's another great option. So please check that out if you haven't already. Again, that link is magicmind.com/holybatcast20. I always put it in the show notes too, just so it's convenient. But yep, just one extra little tool that you can add to your mental wealth utility belt. Now, speaking of cool products and fun things that you can check out. We're going to go back in time, check out some old Batman products that they used to sell on television. And then we're going to work our way up to the present and talk about that new State Farm commercial. So, like we've done in the past and like we do at Real Fans, we are going to do the commercials in chronological order. We'll start with the oldest and work our way up. And so, Scotty, you had the honor of having the oldest Batman commercial. So, what do you got for us?
I picked a commercial from 1966. It was Batman Color Forms, based on the original Batman TV show from the 60s.
Here comes Batman and the boy wonder Robin. The dynamic duo leap into the Batmobile in hot pursuit of the Joker with his tricks and the Penguin with his magic umbrella. They are all here in Color Form's Batman cartoon kit. Let's have an exciting Batman adventure. Put the Penguin in Gotham City. Don't forget his umbrella. Now, Batman makes the scene. Pow! Bam! Color Form's plastic pieces stick like magic. Uh-oh, Robin's in trouble. Can Batman rescue Robin? Will the dynamic duo be boxed in? You'll have hundreds of exciting adventures with the great Batman cartoon kit. By Color Forms. What a toy!
What a toy!
This is really cool. It's do you remember Color Forms?
Oh yeah,
Of course. I don't remember these 1960s versions, but
I didn't realize they went as far back as this. Yeah, this commercial is really neat because it just kind of demonstrates, I guess, what a color form is. It shows at least four of the main characters: Batman, Robin, Joker, and Penguin, and kind of like shows how to play with it. Like you can switch out the arms to do different poses. You can there's accessories because Penguin's got a gun. So definitely this is clearly from another era. They have the bat signal that you can put in the sky, and of course the onomatopoeia pow bam sound effect as well. So that's pretty neat. It's clearly like an older version, I guess, of color form because all the characters are like monochromatic.
mhm.
And I remember they still had these in the 80s when I was a kid, and they were kind of like full color, but still kind of the same principle where you could create your own scenes. So this is essentially like pre iPad era entertainment for children. Make your own cartoon.
It worked though. I loved
It
color
did work.
forms.
yeah,
I
yeah,
loved them as
yeah.
a kid. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
this is so fun. When you sent us the link, I was expecting like 80s era color forms because that's where my brain goes because that's what I
Mhm.
had them. I didn't know we were talking 60s era, and you're right, like the style of them was very different.
Right. Yeah.
Because yeah, they're all monochromatic. So Robin is red, Joker is yellow for whatever reason. I think Penguin was yellow too.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And but like yeah, the fact that the body parts, like the arms and everything, are separate, so you can just change the poses of the arms, is so different because that was not the way color forms were when I was a kid. They
Right, right.
like every character. I mean, there were multiple versions of the same character in different poses, and then there were vehicles and accessories and whatever. But yeah, I was like, oh, so I guess this is how color forms started, huh?
Hmm. Well, it's interesting because with the fact that you can change out the arms, it's it's kind of prophetic of Batman becoming a filmation product or a filmation cartoon in a couple years because they were pioneers of limited animation.
that's right.
Maybe this is how they got the idea. They saw this
They're like,
commercial,
hey, I think we
and
can do this.
they're like, essentially, we could buy a color forms kit and do a cartoon.
I think we're looking at the impetus for that show.
Yeah, I just love the announcer.
Mhm.
It's
Yeah.
Batman. Let's have an adventure.
I kind of remember some of these color forms. Like I think I had like a Scooby Doo color forms where they were very monochromatic, and you changed out the arms, and that was always such a strange thing to me because you'd be saying, like, oh, I want to create this big action scene. Hold on a second. Let me swap out the arms.
I need a bent elbow. Where's the elbows?
But this was such a flashback, Scotty, because first off, I remember color forms, but I forget their logo that they show at the end of the commercial. And they show the child opening the box, and he takes out a little pamphlet that has Batman on it. And I forgot that there was a little pamphlet that they gave you that was like a little fold out that gave you examples of different scenes that you could do in there. And yeah, I forgot to get those black, like the black holders that had the shapes on them, and there was the outline on the shape that you could never line up again once you took it off. That was the end of that. But yeah, this was a real flashback, Scotty, to days of, like, man, I had Scooby Doo, I had the Fonz, like Happy Days. I think there was a Welcome Back Kotter one. I know there was a Disney's Robin Hood one, and I had that one.
I love the idea of Welcome Back Kotter color
Yeah,
forms.
they had them for, I think, every show. It was like color forms eventually became like lunch boxes. If there was a show, you got color forms.
Yeah,
like,
yeah. Because every kid wants to reenact their favorite scenes from Welcome Back Kotter.
Right, in the classroom.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Hold on, let me get Vinnie Barbarino's arm.
Right. Fonzie's got to punch the jukebox on Happy Days. Hold on, let me switch out the arm to the fist.
Where's Ralph Melf's hat?
But I do remember you would create these scenes of, like, Welcome Back Kotter, these big elaborate scenes of the classroom, or Happy Days, or Robin Hood, or like these big action scenes in Batman, and you'd put it all together, you'd lay it all out, and you'd be like, all right,
I guess I'm done.
But what's funny is, like, I'd play with color forms for hours, and Scott's right, they were kind of, the BC era of iPads. Like, this was entertainment for kids.
I guess we should probably explain what color forms are for our younger listeners, because I assume color forms don't exist anymore.
Good question.
I think that's a safe bet. I haven't seen them in ages. I will say, though, that I did own the 80s version of Batman color forms.
Oh, that's cool.
And they were awesome. It makes me want to Google the images just to see them, but I know I had them. This is the 60s version, much different style, but color forms were, you'd open up the box, and in the box was at least one background. Sometimes there were multiple backgrounds and so, like, for Batman here, it's like, it's the skyline of Gotham City and a street and a big moon. So then you can put characters and things on top of the background, and they're essentially stickers, but they're like plastic stickers that stick to the background, but they're reusable ad infinitum.
Right.
And so, so you'd have characters and vehicles and props and pows and bangs and whatever, batarangs, and you just set up all the stuff on the background to make a cool scene, make your own comic book splash pages, and then you peel them off and you do it again, and you
start it all over again.
Make another one up. I mean, I feel like as a kid, I would do stories. I would do, like, and then the Joker showed up, and then Batman swings in, and then I'd swap it. I feel like I would do that.
Yeah, and same with like anything that was from an animated movie or show, like Robin Hood and Scooby Doo. You would try and animate it as best you could. Like, you'd put it all together and then move them a little, to kind of give it some action. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, that was color forms, essentially reusable plastic stickers on a background of whatever characters and IP that you had. But the Batman one here in the 60s, super old school. And then the one in the 80s, I really loved. So, Scotty, this was a good find.
Yeah.
Were you a color forms kid too?
I was. I don't remember exactly which color forms I had. I'm pretty sure I had some Sesame Street ones, because I also remember, I don't know if it was color forms, but it was like the same concept. They would do these books that were, the pages were kind of the same material as color forms. Cause I do remember having a Grover one, and it was like Grover daydreaming he was a knight, and then daydreaming he was a sailor. And so that it was very much like the same concept.
Now that you say that, I feel like that sort of thing they still sell. Almost like a sticker book where same thing. It's sort of like a background, and then you've got a bunch of character stickers. I don't know if they're reusable, but when you started describing that, I'm like, I feel like I have seen that recently, especially even I feel like Harley has something like that. So maybe that is what ended up taking over the color forms industry.
Yeah.
There was also Presto Magics, if anyone remembers that, where
No,
they were like really inexpensive. It was only like, I want to say like $2 or $3, and it was like a fold out sheet of one background, and you put stickers on there somehow. You had to rub them on, I think, but they stayed on permanently. Like once you made the scene was done. And they were sold in like little packets up by like the cash registers at the store, like Toys R Us, and that. So they were like the budget version of color forms that came out several years later.
for the kids who can't afford color forms.
Right, right.
I was like, even in this commercial, Robin can't get no respect. They're like, and Robin, the boy wonder's in trouble again, and they've got the color form Joker holding him at gunpoint.
Right.
Can Batman save him? And I'm like, oh, poor Robin.
I love the animation at the beginning of this too, because they animated it like they used color forms to animate it. You know, like the images kind of like pop in almost like paper animation. You know, that was really cool. That was well done.
Yeah, for sure. Well, really fun. Very 60s. Like, you know, it was on film. It's very crackly and everything. But 1966, Batmania. So it's not surprising that color forms would race to get a Batman set out.
Yeah.
So, all right, Scotty. Very fun. 1966, color forms, Batman. And it says Batman Cartoon Kid.
Right.
But I don't think there was actually a Batman cartoon at that time.
Yeah, it looks like that was 68. So this must have been like, I'm assuming based on the opening credits from the TV show. And then maybe even a little bit of an inspiration from some version of the comic book.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense as they essentially, took the style from the opening credits. And this is also, like you said, how the characters pretty much looked in the comics at the time. Very cool and random find, Scotty.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. Color forms Batman 1966.
Nice.
All right. Well, we're going to jump forward to 1989 for your choice, Michael.
Yeah, for mine, I chose the Batman 1989 Taco Bell commercial.
Right now at Taco Bell, you can collect free Batman cups, like a free Batmobile cup. Or a free Batwing cup. 4 cups in all, free, with free refills and free cinnamon twists every time you buy a 32-ounce drink at Taco Bell. I want you to tell all your friends about me. I'm Batman.
So this commercial is from the summer of 1989 and was for the promotion that Taco Bell had, of course, with Tim Burton's uber blockbuster Batman that came out that summer. And the commercial begins with Michael Keaton as Batman in the cowl coming into the light. And we hear the narrator say very dramatically, right now at Taco Bell, you can collect free Batman cups. And then we see the cups from the movie that Taco Bell offered that summer. One of them had the Batmobile on it. One of them had the Batwing on it. And as they introduce those 2 cups, we see footage from the movie of the Batmobile and the Batwing. There were also 2 other cups that were part of the collection. There were 4 in all. The other 2 had Batman on it. One of them, I believe, had Batman running, and the other one is kind of like Batman standing in profile. And we're told by the narrator of the commercial that we should collect all 4. And they come with free refills and free cinnamon twists, which came in a special bag with the Batman logo on it. And then they show the scene from the film where Michael Keaton says to one of the thugs that he's holding up by the lapels, he says, I want you to tell all your friends about me. I'm Batman. And then my favorite part of the commercial is the last shot of a Taco Bell at night. It's the exterior of the Taco Bell at night, and up in the sky flashes the bat signal. So I love that we get a glimpse of Gotham City's Taco Bell.
Yeah, yeah. Nice. Look just like mine.
Right.
Oh.
And I chose this commercial for a variety of reasons when Andy asked me to be on the show. First and foremost, I'm excited to talk about this with both of you because we all have a love of fast food and we all love fast food promotions. And fast food commercials have been part of a lot of our conversations, both on podcasts and just personal conversations as well. And Andy and I have had a lot of discussions about summer movies and summer movie promotions. Um, and of all the summer movie marketing, the king of that will probably always be 1989's Batman. I've always felt that the 80s was kind of this golden age of summer movies. I mean, the years from 80 to 89, those summers saw some of the most popular movies of all time, most of them from either Steven Spielberg and or George Lucas. I mean, two of the original Star Wars movies came out during those years. The first three Indiana Jones movies, E.T., Back to the Future. And then there were also movies like Rambo and Who Framed Roger Rabbit and Batman in the last summer of the 80s, 89. And I think the marketing and the promotion for Batman was brilliant. And it set the stage for what was to come in the 90s, where movies were promoted during that decade, in that Batman was promoted not like a movie, but like this event. It was promoted where any and everywhere you went that summer, you could not escape knowing that Batman was coming to movie theaters. And it was marketed almost like a concert or like a big sporting event. You felt that when this movie came out, if I didn't go to see it either opening weekend or shortly thereafter, I was going to be left out of a lot of conversations during the summer. It was really like FOMO because before FOMO was a thing. And I always feel that Batman really did that so well that summer. As the days and weeks got closer to the movie Batman opening, there was excitement and energy around it, and I think that helped turn it into an incredible blockbuster. Plus the fact that it's a great movie. And Andy, I know you've talked about the summer of '89 in the past, and I love that you say, like, as a kid during that summer, you had no room for any other real estate in your mind, I think is how you
Yeah.
termed it,
Yep.
other than the Batman, Tim Burton's Batman. And
Yeah. Yeah.
I
It was
think,
the only thing I thought about. It was the only thing I cared about.
yeah, and I can totally see that because I think there were a lot of other people of other ages who felt similarly because of how well Batman was marketed. Like it was very much on your mind that summer if you were a movie fan or a pop culture fan or a comic book fan. Um, and like I said, it set the stage for how movies were marketed into the 90s. If you look at, Andy, your favorite movie, Jurassic Park, was very much an event when it
Mhm.
opened in the 90s. And every Disney movie that opened in the 90s, Lion King, Pocahontas, Hunchback, and then Godzilla and Independence Day. And that all started, that whole event marketing promotional mindset started because of Batman in the summer of '89. And this Taco Bell commercial was just one of the many Batman commercials I remember seeing that summer. I feel like this commercial was played that entire summer. And I think it was because it was summer and everyone was having barbecues or hanging out at the pool or whatnot. I feel like I saw these cups in use a lot that summer by like family, friends, coworkers who would go out to Taco Bell on a break and then you'd see it on their desk when they came back. I know I had at least one or two of them. I wish I still had them now. And so for fast food promotions, the golden age of summer movies, and that summer of '89 and Batman, I just had to pick this commercial.
I'm so glad you did.
Yeah, I figured you'd like it.
Yeah, this commercial, it's good for what ails you. It just makes me happy.
Yeah,
Like you said, that final shot of the 1989 Taco Bell at night, and then that bat signal lights up behind it, magic.
yeah, yeah. I
And
hope
then,
whoever came up with that idea got a major raise. Really,
yes, it's
Yeah,
beautiful. And then that beauty shot of the 4 cups full of delicious, I was going to say Coke, but it was Taco Bell, so it would have been Pepsi.
right, right.
Maybe Dr. Pepper, but yeah, not Coke at Taco Bell. But yeah, the 4 cups with the soda in it that are bubbling and fizzing,
Yeah,
and then the cinnamon twists in that Batman bag. Ah, oh my God. It's like It's beautiful. I just love it so much. But before I go on too much about it, Scotty, I don't know if you remember this commercial, or do you remember the cups?
I think I remember the cups because I want to say they were in our cupboard when we were roommates. Is that right?
Oh, that's a great I don't know if they would have been in our cupboard.
Because I feel like you had a lot of cool collector cups, and I feel like
I
you.
only use cool collector cups
That's
in my everyday life,
what I was
because
thinking.
if you're going to drink something out of something, it might as well be something fun,
Might as well make it a porty.
right? So yes, like I pretty much only use souvenir glasses and souvenir cups for everything. But ironically, I think when we were roommates, Scotty, these would have been in storage, and I will tell you more about
Oh, okay.
my
Okay.
Taco Bell Batman cups in just a second.
Well, I don't know if I remember this specific commercial, but I definitely remember the summer of Batman because I went out to Delaware to visit my best friend at the time from childhood because he had just moved out there. And I remember that we were all about Batman. And I remember we went to comic book shops and we were like buying like Batman pins, but they were very unofficial Batman pins that
Oh
were
yeah,
not
it was also the
licensed.
summer of bootleg Batman.
Right,
Yes, it
right. I
was
remember
bootleg
that too.
stuff.
Yeah.
And so I remember that pretty clearly. So yeah, that was a really huge event. It was a big, big deal. And I honestly always forget that it was 89. For some reason, I think it was 90 because it feels like the beginning of the 90s or the beginning of another era because it was
Right.
right there on the cusp. And it was just such a game changer and such a different type of superhero film than we were used to. But yeah, I mean, this commercial is definitely a reminder of that summer and that excitement. And boy, I want a Mexican pizza now.
I'll meet you there. Let's do
Okay,
it.
let's
I'm
do it.
so in. Oh, if we lived closer together.
I know that
Oh,
2,500 miles. Dang.
I know. But I do appreciate that, over our many, many years of friendship, we have done many late night Taco Bell runs. And
Yes,
that is just as magical as Batman.
I wish we were. I wish our digestive systems could still handle midnight Taco
Oh,
Bell.
mine still can. Come on.
What?
I'm in my prime.
Good
Yeah.
for you. I'm jealous.
No, this commercial I absolutely remember. It is a perfect snapshot of the summer of 1989.
Yeah.
Those, just the clips they chose are iconic, and they were in every commercial, every trailer. They were in everything. So of course they're in the Taco Bell commercial too. And if y'all have been listening to this show or any of the other shows, you all know, of course I love Batman, but I also love Taco Bell. So Batman and Taco Bell together, oh, forget about it. Doesn't get much better. These cups are so cool. And as a kid, I remember these cups coming out, and somehow, I don't know how, but somehow I was able to collect them all that summer.
Wow.
And as a 10-year-old, I don't know if I just was able to talk all the adults in my life into going to Taco Bell way more than normal so I could get these cups, but somehow then I got all four. These days, it's easy. You go to eBay, you pay whatever you need to pay, and you get what you need.
Right.
Back then, you had to keep going back so you could get them all.
Yeah.
And I managed to do it. So on this show in the past, I talked about that my childhood bedroom that I shared with my brother. We had these two shelves on the wall, kind of those thick wooden shelves that attach to the wall. We had two of them. And at the beginning of the summer of 1989, there were a couple Batman things on those shelves. By the end of the summer of 1989, you couldn't fit anything on the shelves because they were full of Batman. And I distinctly remember having these four cups on those shelves. And then you grow up, you move out of your parents' house. These ended up in a box somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
So for years and years and years, they just lived in a Batman box, I think mostly at my dad's, then at my sister's. Eventually they made their way back to me. And now they're on my shelf in my office right now as we speak.
Oh, wow.
But because they took a long journey over 25, maybe even 30 years, I remember it would have been 2019, maybe 2020. I want to say it was right before, I want to say it was right before the pandemic. We went to Acme Superstore. And they had a couple of these cups that were in pristine condition. Like brand spanking new. And they were like $4.99 each or something totally reasonable.
Right.
And I was like, well, I'm buying them again because I don't even know what shape my old ones are in because that was before I ever found them in the boxes. And so I bought new ones that were just in beautiful shape. So those are also on my shelf with the originals right now. The originals actually held up quite well for what it's worth. But yeah, I remember rebuying them at Acme because they were in just perfect shape. And why would I pass those up, especially for just a few dollars? So I am obsessed with the artwork on these cups. I love that because it was such a simple time where it's like, it's not like you got a Batman cup and a Joker cup and a Vicky Vale cup because that's what happened in 1992 at McDonald's with Batman Returns. It was like, nope, there are 4 Batman cups and Batman's on all 4 cups.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah.
And then on the back, one was the Batmobile, one was the Batwing, one is just Batman himself. So you get 2 Batmans. And then I think the third one or the fourth one was like about his suit or his cape, something weird like that. But yeah, I have so many warm feelings for these cups, especially because of how good the artwork is. And this artwork, some of these they took comic book artwork that had been previously published and then drew over them to make it look like the movie version of Batman.
Oh, I was wondering because it looks very comic bookish as opposed to the Michael Keaton, Tim Burton version. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's one where Batman is sort of, it almost looks like he's leaping forward and his hands in the foreground. That's a very famous image from comic book artist Neil Adams.
Oh,
they took 4 great pieces of comic book Batman art and then drew over it to give him the movie suit. But all that is to say, thank you for choosing this one. It makes me so happy. It is 30 seconds of bliss. It does make me want to go to Taco Bell. It makes me want to fill one of these cups up with Dr. Pepper just so I can pretend I'm in the summer of 1989, because as we've talked about 1,000 times on the show, summer of 89, you had to be there. But oh my God, we just lived and breathed and bled Batman, and this Taco Bell commercial, perfect example.
and what's funny is when I'm watching the commercial, they're saying free Batman cups because I guess there wasn't any like upcharge for the drinks, so you got the cup for free with the drink, and then you got the free cinnamon twists as well.
Yeah,
in the little Batman bag. So after I watched the commercial, I said the cinnamon twists were free. So I like did some Googling, and apparently the cinnamon twists were going to be introduced by Taco Bell that summer as a new addition to the menu, and they were trying to think of how to promote them. So they decided to create these little Batman bags that were like smaller than the small size. So it wasn't like they were giving you a lot, but it was a way to promote the movie and promote the new item on the menu. So I thought that was really interesting too.
That is, I didn't realize that either. And I love that bag. I will say I have a lot of these cups. I do not have the cinnamon twist bag. So, of course, I just pulled it up on eBay.
I was gonna say, are you
it's got to be on
there. A bag of those bags, like from a Taco Bell.
So here's the thing: they've got a bag, and they look brand new, but it ain't cheap for cinnamon twist bags.
Just one twist bag.
Like, no, there's a single twist bag that looks used, and that's $20 on its own, just for the cinnamon twist bag.
Wow.
But this bag of bags where they look brand new, it's $50, but they look brand new.
Wow.
So that's a lot for cinnamon twist bags, but I'm not considering it.
I expect you'll get those at some point. You'll wake up in the middle of the night and be like, you know what? I'm just going to do it.
That's right.
Like what a steal. Anyway, so yeah, like the cinnamon twist bag, like what a cool extra little thing.
Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, you can get a whole set of the 4 cups for $20. That's a great deal.
Yeah.
But the cinnamon twist bag's a little bit harder to come by. Now you know.
Yeah.
Well, and aren't those cinnamon twists like a staple of Taco Bell's menu?
They are now, yeah.
I didn't realize they launched with Batman. That's amazing.
Yeah, I didn't realize that either.
I didn't either.
Commercial. Yeah.
Well, can I tell you this? Like, 2 weeks ago, I got Taco Bell for dinner for me and Harley. Catherine was working late or something. So I went and got Taco Bell for us because Harley loves her a good Taco Bell burrito. Do you know why? Because she's our daughter. And I got cinnamon twists. In my mind, I got a cinnamon twist to share.
Oh.
And I was like, look, Harley, I got us a treat. And she's like, ooh, a treat. And she ate one. And then I went to eat one and she was like, no, my treat. And so I did not get any of my cinnamon twists.
Wow.
And that's what it's like to have a toddler. But it's so fun how quickly she was like, no, my treat. I'm like, oh, okay, great. But she likes them and they still sell them. So anyway, there you go. Taco Bell, Batman, 1989, Michael, magical choice.
Yeah, I think so as well. Thank you.
Sweet. All right. Well, we're going to jump to my choice. And my choice, we're going to jump ahead a couple of years. We're going to jump to this commercial is from 1992, but there's some squishiness in there, which I will explain after we watch it. But for now, this commercial, it is the 1992 Batman stunt show at Six Flags commercial.
Answer the call of the new Batman stunt show at Six Flags Great Adventure with explosive action, electrifying stunts, and all those wonderful toys. There's even the incredible Batmobile. All the greatest stunts Hollywood has to offer. And it's all right here at a theme park that's bigger than Disneyland and a whole lot closer. Six Flags Great Adventure and the new Batman stunt show. Nothing else comes close.
All right. So this one starts out and it says Six Flags Great Adventure. And we get a shot very reminiscent of the last shot of the Taco Bell one. But instead of a Taco Bell, we've got a shot of Six Flags. And then the bat signal shines above a big roller coaster at Six Flags. And they say, come check out the new Batman stunt show at Six Flags. And, you know, it's great stunts, the greatest stunts that Hollywood has to offer. And all those wonderful toys, even the Batmobile. And while they're selling you this, you get some cool shots of Batman racing in on a motorcycle, him ziplining in, some cool classic stunts of like a guy falling off a balcony. You get little glimpses of Vicky Vale, of the Joker, that shot of the Batmobile, of it like the doors opening and the Batmobile coming out. There's smoke behind it, and just selling this big, exciting Batman stunt show at Six Flags. And yeah, they say, you know, the best stunts that Hollywood has to offer at a park that's bigger than Disneyland. And when I was looking for this commercial, I found a lot of different Six Flags commercials, and I forgot in the early 90s that like that was part of their marketing, is like they went after Disney hard.
Yeah, I do remember that. I forgot about it until I saw this.
Yeah, bigger than Disney, you know, closer than Disney. You could go to Disney, but why would you need to? Six Flags. But I forgot, and that I think is pretty hilarious. But yeah, you get the glimpses of the show, and then the big cool final money shot is the Batmobile crashing through a wall of essentially what looks like Axis chemicals while a big fiery explosion goes off. And so they're like, yep, the Batman stunt show only at Six Flags. And again, this one says Six Flags Great Adventure. This was in 1992, but the reason I said that was squishy is because many Six Flags parks had a Batman stunt show in this time. And not that long ago, me and Brendan talked about some of our favorite Batman experiences, and I talked about Batman the Ride, which opened at Six Flags Great America near Chicago, where I grew up, and that opened in 1992. So we got the Batman stunt show the following summer in 1993. So I guess New Jersey got the show first in 92. It didn't come to Illinois until 93. But the funny thing is this was the commercial I was looking for, but I couldn't find it for Great America. I could only find it for Great Adventure. But aside from that, the commercial, exactly the same as what we got in Illinois.
Wow.
Exactly. And so many Six Flags had a Batman stunt show, and they just used the same commercial no matter where you were.
Right.
Which, hey, I mean, it works. And so Scotty said, when we took a little break, he goes, "Oh, is this, I thought this was maybe Magic Mountain." I'm like, you know what? Magic Mountain probably also used this commercial at some point. So you're not wrong. But again, the best version I could find was for Great Adventure, but it doesn't really matter. It's the Batman stunt show. And we talked about it in the past. Of course, I love Batman and I love theme parks. And Six Flags Batman integration was as good as it was going to get for us when we were kids. And so I was just excited to get anything new Batman, especially in a theme park. So Batman the Ride, I lost my mind over. And then the year later, in 1993, having the Batman stunt show at Six Flags Great America. Oh, so excited. And what I remember is I remember waiting a very long time and then sitting in the bleachers for what felt like a very long time in the heat just to see the show. But man, did I think that show was cool. And while I was searching for this commercial, someone put the whole show on YouTube. So I am going to watch that later.
Wow. That's cool.
So yeah, I picked this because seeing this commercial as a kid back in 1993, as spring was ending in Illinois and you were a kid or a teenager, you started to get that itch of like, oh, it's almost Great America season. And so then you would start getting commercials like this and you're like, what's new this year at Great America? And so for me, a huge Batman fan, to go, oh, we're getting a Batman stunt show and we just got Batman the Ride last year. Life couldn't get any better. So yeah, I just remember being so hyped with this. I did think it was funny that 1992 was the release of Batman Returns, but the stunt show is very much Batman 89.
Yeah.
But that's okay. It just shows what a grip Batman still had on pop culture.
Yeah.
At that time. And 89 was only 3 years old when this opened in New Jersey and 4 years in Illinois. So it wasn't that old. But yeah, I just have really good memories of this commercial and of the show itself, even though I only saw the show the one time. So I am looking forward to finding a video to relive it. But Scotty, yeah, what did you think of this the Six Flags stunt show at Great Adventure or Great America?
It's funny because it reminds me that stunt shows are, and I'm assuming still are, such a staple of theme park experiences.
Yeah.
Because I feel like so many theme parks have a version of a stunt show. And the one that I probably remember the most, or I think probably made a deeper impact on me, was, I believe there was a Conan stunt show at Universal in Hollywood that we came to visit when I was in second grade, and my dad had made some very grainy footage of it on his 8mm camera. It was just like a moment, like a blip, and it was so blurry, but I remember it being really, really neat. And I've seen many other stunt shows in different parks over the years, and when I was just looking at this commercial, like some of the sets and even like the costumes, I'm like, oh yeah, those are very classic stunt show items. You know what I mean? Like a somewhat vague cityscape background and like the stunt woman with the wig.
Yeah, the Mickey Dale wig.
I was like, oh yeah, this looks very familiar. So I do love that it was, a classic stunt show, but in the guise of Batman. Because I think as a just character and property, and this specific version of Batman definitely lends itself to the stunt show format. And I'm sure, like, it made a big impact on you. I'm sure this was very impactful on a lot of like fans at the time. And honestly, like, I don't have much experience with Six Flags because there wasn't one that was super close to me when I was growing up. But I've always liked how they've had the DC name or DC license for so many years and have done, a lot of different things with them. So yeah, I think it's a very fitting choice. And I think that's cool to hear your story about it.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. It's the footage is so theme park stunt show from 1992.
Yeah.
You totally can feel it, but that's, I think, part of the charm of it.
Absolutely.
It's also fun that like in here you see Batman on the Batcycle, and there was no Batcycle in the movie, so it was also like kind of cool as a kid to be like, oh, and now he's got the Batcycle in the show. It's like a little bonus.
Okay.
But Michael, what about you? Any memories of anything like this?
Oh well, this brought back memories of not just Batman and this stunt show and this commercial, but of Great Adventure, because you talked about, where you lived in Illinois, Andy, you'd get that itch as summer came for Great America. In the New York, New Jersey area, it was for Great Adventure, because this was the nearest Six Flags to me where I grew up in Long Island. It was like, I think, a 3-hour drive from where we were, but it was the closest one. And yeah, you'd start seeing these commercials um, in the spring, and then they would air throughout the entire summer. And when you sent me the commercial, I said, "Oh, is this Great Adventure in New Jersey?" And I said, "Well, if it says exit 7A off the New Jersey Turnpike at the end, then it is." And sure enough, there it was, because I think all of us knew what exit Great Adventure was, because the commercial aired like throughout cartoons in the afternoon, throughout all the rerun shows in the evening and everything. And I forgot about this stunt show until you sent me this. I was only to Great Adventure once, in all my years growing up in New York, but I remember all of the commercials, and this was a flashback seeing this. It reminded me of, like you said, that relationship between Batman and the Six Flags park, because it reminded me of Batman the Ride, and I
Mhm.
remember all the commercials for that when that opened. And I feel like, didn't they have like Batman appearances at the park too? Like, couldn't you, was there a meet and greet with Batman? I feel like there was footage of
I
that
think
somewhere.
so. Yeah.
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 But yeah, this brought back not only memories of the summer, and when I saw it was 92, I was like, oh, is this going to be the Batman Returns stunt show? But it was kind of fun to see that it was the original Batman. It looked like you could see Joker really quick, and Axis Chemicals, and the Batmobile, and
Mhm.
Vicky Vale. And yeah, it just has that theme park of days gone by feel to it that's just so nice to see again. So this was a lot of fun.
Oh, good, good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I almost picked the commercial for Batman the Ride.
Hmm.
But again, we had just talked about that a couple episodes ago, and I was like, well, it would be fun to look at the commercial, but I think past that, I would probably just say all the same stuff about Batman the Ride that I just said. So I
Right.
was like, but the following year we got the stunt show, and yeah, it's so fun, and I love that as soon as you saw it, you remembered it too.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I was like, Great Adventure. Oh my gosh,
Yeah,
man. They were like, yeah, but like you said, these commercials were a staple of summer, because
all summer.
they
Yes, I.
all summer, and they would play to kids, because they would play them in the morning during the cartoons, in the afternoon
Mhm.
during the cartoons. Yeah. Yep.
My God, so fun.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, so again, the one that we're watching, it says 1992 Batman Six Flags Stunt Show commercial, and it's for Great Adventure. But again, they used all the same footage for anywhere there was a Batman stunt show.
Hmm.
And I also found that they did a Batman Forever stunt show
Oh wow.
um, at certain Six Flags, which I've never watched, but I guess it was very water heavy. So it was like their
Hmm.
water world, I think.
Oh wow.
But so I need to look more into that. And I also distinctly remember Six Flags Magic Mountain had a Batman Begins stunt show.
Oh.
Wow.
And, so, and I think I saw it the first year we moved to California, Scotty, when my first trip to Magic Mountain.
Oh, okay.
I remember seeing it, and that would have been summer. That would have been like
Oh,
2008.
probably '08, yeah, because we moved in
Yeah.
August of '07, yeah.
Yeah, so it would have been 2008. It would have been right before The Dark Knight came out. So Six Flags has done many Batman stunt shows over the years. And, again, you can kind of go down the YouTube rabbit hole depending
Mm.
on which one you're most interested in. But I had to go with the first because
Hmm.
that's the one that I remember seeing in person.
That's cool.
And hats off to Great Adventure too, because I know in New Jersey and probably Illinois, it was a seasonal park,
Yeah.
right? It was only
Yeah.
open spring, summer, maybe a couple weekends in the fall. Um, and this was a pretty elaborate looking stunt show. So I give them a lot of credit.
Yeah. I will say, and I've said this before, is that with Six Flags, you always grade on a curve.
Right.
Mhm.
But for Six Flags, this was a very good stunt show.
Yeah.
But anyway, very cool. Little trip back to some Batman in theme parks of yore.
Yeah.
And so this was all we were going to talk about today. We were like, oh, we got 3 retro commercials just for funsies. Why the heck not? Something that's not time sensitive. And then yesterday, like prayers had been answered, we get a brand new, very impressive, not to bury the lead, new Batman commercial for State Farm. And so I was like, well, we got to talk about the new State Farm commercial too. So there is a new commercial out there, and it is called Bateman versus Batman, or Batman versus Bateman. There is a 1-minute version and there is a 2-minute version. I say if you're going in, go all in, do the 2-minute version, the extended cut. And so it is the Batman versus Bateman State Farm commercial.
Go! You're joking.
As havoc continues across Gotham City, it seems our only hope is Batman.
Batman?
Close enough. Bateman. Gotta tell you, the suit really bunches up in the old Batcave, if you know what I mean.
Having insurance isn't the same as having State Farm. It's like getting Bateman when you need the protection of Batman.
Easy, Batemobile. Not too fast, baby.
Riddle me this.
What is dusk?
You don't have to answer in the form of a question.
What is dawn?
You don't need to answer like that.
Do something, Bateman!
Yeah, okay. Stop. Whoa, cat lady. Time out. Wow.
Nice fanny bag.
Thank you.
Rude. What is love?
All right.
What isn't love, you know?
Just toss him.
Not all protection's the same.
Any last words?
Just one. It's a long one.
Dermatologist.
That's why you need the real deal.
Look out! That's Batman!
Go home, Bateman. Do a podcast or something.
That's hurtful.
Citizens need help as vandalism spikes. Police
Never
say
play with
Red
poison
Light
ivy.
suspect Poison ivy.
Someone's a flirt.
Bateman, please.
Yeah, this is feeling much more Batman to me.
Are you serious, bro?
When it comes to protection, you wouldn't settle for Bateman when there's Batman. So don't settle for just any insurance when there's State Farm.
Don't touch that.
Well, now I want to touch it more.
Oh, boy. Party clown. Listen, if we're gonna be roomies, no juggling, no magic, no balloon animals. I don't want any weird clown stuff, okay?
All right, this State Farm commercial for me came out of nowhere. I guess it was teased somewhere, but somewhere I wasn't paying attention. So for me, it came out of nowhere, but other people went, "Oh yeah, they've been teasing something Batman. Don't know where." But again, 2-minute version. What you've got here is you get just a quick glimpse of the Joker running away in Gotham City, and you realize that things have gone bad. An armored truck falls on a car. There's explosions. You get a good look at the Gotham skyline, and up on police headquarters, the bat signal is shining. They're calling for Batman. There's a Commissioner Gordon up there who, it's not Jeffrey Wright from the Batman, but it looks exactly like Jeffrey Wright from the Batman.
Yeah, yeah,
At least I don't think it's him, but man, it looks like him.
yeah.
And a masked man shows up and they're like, Batman? And it's not. It's Bateman. It's Jason Bateman. We love Jason Bateman. And so the whole gimmick is, there's insurance and there's State Farm. So settling in for insurance that's not State Farm is like settling for Bateman when you need Batman. And so you've got Jason Bateman running into all of Batman's rogues gallery all over Gotham and using his sardonic wit as opposed to anything else to try to defeat them. So you've got the Riddler quizzing him on stuff, and he's answering like it's Jeopardy, and the Riddler is like, you don't have to answer in the form of a question. And you've got Catwoman stealing things, and they're like, aren't you going to do something? And he's like, hey, cat lady, you want to stop there? There is Two-Face, and he's like, any last words? And Bateman says, yeah, I got one, just a long one, dermatologist. And eventually Batman shows up and starts saving the people where Bateman cannot. Poison Ivy is in here, and she's got Bateman, in her vines and her plants, and he's like, well, someone's a flirt, and Batman is saving people in the background. And so then Jake from State Farm is in the Batmobile with Batman going, why settle for Bateman when you can have Batman? And then there's one last moment where Batman and Bateman are in Arkham, and Jason Bateman pushes a button, falls down through the floor, and it comes face to face with the Joker, Poison Ivy, Two-Face, and the Riddler. So if you're a Batman fan, hopefully you've watched this. If you haven't watched it, if for some reason you missed it, go watch it, because this is freaking delightful. But before I say my piece, I want to hear what you guys have to say. Michael, the State Farm Batman commercial.
This is astonishing. This commercial is amazing. I want to see a 90-minute or 2-hour movie of this. I'll take it either as a Batman movie, or I'll take it as a Batman parody movie with Bateman in the movie. When I first saw this, because I had no idea it was around either, and you sent Scott and I the link. I know that there's a sequel to The Batman with Robert Pattinson coming out, right?
Someday.
Yeah. I thought maybe, that's coming out soon. So State Farm did a promotion with it, and they've, superimposed Jason Bateman into scenes from the movie, because the commercial production values are as great as any movie I've ever seen. The Gotham City in this looks fantastic. Batman looks great. The Batman villains, the Rogues Gallery, look incredible. The action is really great. This is a mini movie, and on top of that, it's so much fun. Like all the lines you said, very much Jason Bateman and his kind of cynical, smart aleck wit, and it just fits perfectly with everything. And yet, I feel like they walk that fine line of not making fun of anything that is Batman or the villains. It's more making fun of like Jason Bateman or the character of Bateman.
Mm-hmm.
And they stay true to Batman and the villains and the Batman lore and Gotham City, which was just really fun to see how well they did this. So yeah, this was wonderful. It really was.
No, I love to hear it. Scotty, what'd you think?
Yeah, this was so cool and completely unexpected. I like when you sent me the link and I was watching, I was like, wow, this looks really good. And I think that is, a fun pun or joke and of Bateman, and he's always such a good sport, and he's so fun. Like he's just so fun. And I love that he's, a total 80s kid, total Gen Xer.
Mm-hmm,
It's
mm-hmm.
fun. I love that he's had a resurgence over the
Yeah.
past 10 to 15 years. And this is something that just is right up his alley. And he had to have been having a blast doing this.
Yeah.
I'm glad he bounced back from Teen Wolf 2.
I remember the interview with him for that, and I just, like, clear as day, I remember him saying, it's Teen Wolf 2, as in Teen Wolf also. But anyway, yeah, this was a lot of fun, and like Michael was saying, just spectacular. And the adult in me was reminded of the painful reality that my insurance is definitely Bateman, because I'm not fancy enough to afford State Farm. So, I've got Jason Bateman insurance, and I'm okay with it, I guess.
You have Bateman.
I have Bateman. I aspire to be a State Farm person, but not that.
Well, I am a State Farm person.
Wow.
I've always been a State Farm person because my dad was a State Farm person. So I just followed his lead. And I've never been more happy to see where my money has gone than watching this commercial. Makes it all worthwhile. Absolutely. So I'm happy to be a part of the State Farm team now, thanks to this. And then that's no lie. I've really had State Farm ever since I started driving. I have so many thoughts. I have so many things to say. The first thing I would say is, yes, so impressive, blown away. This feels like a Super Bowl commercial that they didn't have
Right.
ready in time.
Yeah, it totally does. Yeah.
Right? Like,
Yeah.
because it's so big, it's so funny, it's so clever. Like, this is a big deal. I am shocked this was not for the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Yeah.
But for whatever reason, it's not. But I'm glad to see, again, at least Batman fans like embracing and loving this because it deserves to be loved and embraced. Yeah, and it's funny because when it came out, my old dear friend Brian Crosby, huge Batman fan, he texted it to me and my other old friend Jamie Magoo, and he's like, "Hey guys, making sure that you saw this." And it came through like in the morning when I was like driving to work, and I was like, "What did he send me?" And it just said Bateman versus Batman, and I was like, well, "I'll look at that later." I had no idea what he sent because I was preoccupied, and then I get to work and I finally have a minute and I was like, hold on, let me see what the heck this is. And then I watch it and I was like, holy crap.
Yeah.
That is awesome. And like you said, Michael, my first thought is I was like, I want a Batman movie in this style.
Yeah.
You know, not necessarily Bateman, although he is hilarious. And I know, Scotty, you and I, we share our love of Jason Bateman. He's just so darn fun. And so for this, he's hysterical and I really love the bit. But if you take Bateman out of this and you're left with this version of Gotham and this version of Batman and these version of the Rogues Gallery, I'm like, I love it.
Yeah.
It's like such a great combination of comic booky and real.
Yeah.
Which is something that, a lot of the movies have had a hard time finding that sweet spot in between. And here we go. State Farm Insurance managed to nail it in a commercial.
Wow.
Cause I am so impressed with how many villains they get into this. So you get the Riddler, you get the Joker, you get Poison Ivy, you get Catwoman, you get Two-Face. That's 5 villains in a minute and 54 seconds.
Wow.
And they all look from very good to freaking great. I would say Two-Face and Catwoman look pretty good. Not, I don't know if I'd quite put them at movie quality, but they look good. Joker looks amazing.
Yeah.
He looks amazing. And I'm so glad you only get the good look at him, though, if you watch the extended version of the commercial. So that's why you got to watch it. But when they cut to him and he's staring at Batman smiling, you're like, oh my God.
Right.
And I'm going to say something, and I feel like it's a hot take, but maybe it's not that hot a take because I have seen other Batman fans say this. I think that is the best looking live action Joker since 1989.
Wow.
I'm not saying he's the best Joker since 1989 because he doesn't even say anything. So I don't know. But looks only. He looks amazing.
Yeah.
He looks like the Joker. And again, like a perfect balance of real and comic book. I love this Joker design.
Yeah.
I think the Riddler looks great. He looks awesome. And here's your other hot take to go hand in hand with my Joker hot take. This Batmobile is my favorite looking Batmobile since 1989.
Wow.
That Batmobile is awesome. It is exactly the Batmobile I've been wanting to see in a movie for years and years and years. Whereas it's a car, it is sleek, but it is still unmistakably a Batmobile. I freaking love this Batmobile, even though you get to see it for 2 seconds, maybe.
Yeah.
But it is an awesome design for a Batmobile. So I was totally blown away by this. Batman, he looks good enough. Certainly not my favorite bat suit, but he looks good. He looks like Batman. But yeah, this is like such a cool surprise and everyone looks good. The action moments of Batman jumping down, gliding with his cape, or when he grabs those hostages and rappels out with them, like all that stuff looks great too.
Yeah.
A State Farm commercial has no business being this cool. So yeah, I really, really love this. I thought it was awesome. And I've watched it many, many times and I'm not mad about it, but it's so cool. Now, what I also think is funny is that last year I did a couple episodes about the Batman OnStar commercials. Do you remember that?
Oh, that's right. I forgot about those. Yeah.
And so I feel like we are back in the Batman OnStar commercial era. So the Batman OnStar commercials was when the Batman movies were in development hell and we weren't getting any more for a minute.
Hmm.
And so WB was like, oh, I guess put Batman in your OnStar commercials because we're not, it's going to be a minute. And right now, I feel like, and we've talked about this recently, the two Batman movies that are in development, The Brave and the Bold and the Batman Part 2, are taking their sweet time. And so it almost feels like, well, it's going to be a while before we get another Batman movie on the big screen. So what the heck? Let's do another commercial. And I'm not mad at it. If this is what it takes to tide me over, that's fine. But I just thought it was very funny of history repeating itself.
I do like that they have an extended version, and you can see, like how there's segments of this commercial could stand on its own. They could have multiple commercials from this, but I think it was really smart that like they have an extended version and that it's very quick because a lot of Batman fans, like you just said, Andy, you've watched it multiple times. There's going to be a lot of that out there and a lot of pausing it to see what the Joker looks like and see what Gotham City looks like. So this will get multiple viewings, and I think that was really smart on their part too.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and I selfishly, I want it to be a series of commercials.
Yeah.
I want to see them again while we're waiting for a new movie. Why not do this? But yeah, just like what a really cool take on Batman's world. And even that shot of Gordon with the bat signal, and you see Gotham and you see a very brightly lit State Farm logo, but that's fine. Gotham looks cool. So yeah, like just so well done, so big budget, so impressive. I was really blown away by this.
Yeah.
I want to know the story behind this. Like, how did this happen?
I know. Yeah.
It's so because it's so random.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's so successful. And, all of us are obsessed with old school commercials and, well, let's face it, brands, because we were raised in the 80s and Gen X, commercialism was our religion as children. So we've all been self-described McDonald's, whatever the term would be. But like this seems like one of those things that will be one of those ad campaigns that lives on, that makes a splash over time.
Because it tells a story, right? Like that's what we have talked about, like with the old McDonald's, Coca-Cola commercials.
Yeah.
You really didn't see the product all that much. It told a story, and the product just kind of peeked in at the end with a logo. And this is kind of the same thing. There's a little more State Farm in here, and they tie it with the, why have Bateman when you can have Batman at the end? But really, the if you took out chunks of the commercial in the middle, you'd never know it was a State Farm commercial.
Yeah. And that works perfectly, like the metaphor makes sense, but really we're just here for the eye candy. And it really speaks to the iconic nature of Batman and his world that you can do a commercial like this with Poison Ivy and Two-Face and the Riddler and the Joker, and everyone just gets it. That you can only get away with this with a character where everyone's like, oh yeah, everyone knows who Batman and the Joker and Two-Face and Riddler, everybody knows these characters. And so that's what allows you to be able to do that funny spin with Bateman, because everyone gets the Batman part of it. So I just love leaning into that and having fun with it. And you're right, like all of Batman himself and the villains are all played straight, and Bateman is the only one who's playing it for laughs.
Yeah.
It's the Abbott and Costello meet Frankenstein approach.
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah. So yeah, Batman versus Bateman, the State Farm commercial. Just what a nice surprise this week. It made my whole week. And we couldn't have planned it better.
Absolutely.
So what a great way to cap off our Batman commercial chat. We started way back in 1966 with Batman color forms.
Yes.
And Scotty, while you were having technical difficulties, me and Michael fell down a color forms rabbit hole.
Oh, did you also hit eBay and buy some?
I perused. I did not make any purchases, but here's the thing. I remember having the 80s Batman color forms, which I talked about that, right?
Yeah.
I remember having that one, but like they did Batman Forever, they did Batman Returns, they did Batman and Robin, they did Batman the Animated Series. There are a lot of Batman color forms out there for anybody interested. But the one we looked at was from 1966. Then we did the 1989 Taco Bell commercial with those cool collector cups and Batman cinnamon twists, which are more delicious than any other cinnamon twist because they come in a Batman bag.
That's right.
Then we did the 1992 Batman stunt show at Six Flags commercial. The commercial was for Great Adventure, but really, any Six Flags will do. And then 2025 Batman versus Bateman State Farm commercial that just came out. What a breadth of Batman content today.
Yeah.
Very cool. But these are obviously all on YouTube. You guys can find them. And just a fun way to get little tastes of different types of Batman through the ages. But always fun to do stuff like this with you two guys. I'm glad we made the time. So, gentlemen, thanks for joining me for Holy BatCast. I'm not going to do the Wayne Manor mailbox this week because it's getting late. And there's a couple in there, but they'll wait. But if anybody out there, if you're listening, if you've got something for the Wayne Manor mailbox, you can send that to holybatcast@rf4rm.com. But that will wrap it up for this episode. Scotty, thanks for coming. Thanks for reminding us about the magic of color forms.
Well, thank you for having me. It was a lot of fun to go down memory lane with that. We should do another Superpowers review episode.
I'm always down.
Because I think that was one of the last times I was on BatCast, and that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that was fun. We did a few of those. But anyway, tell people where they can find you. And I did imply at the beginning that we had just recorded recently, so you can tell people where to find that.
Yes, I am also on another show on this network called From Pencils to Pixels, the Animation Celebration podcast with the fabulous Michael Lyons, where we talk about, I don't know, Michael, how do you describe it? I always say just all kinds of animation, but mostly old school animation.
Yeah, that's a perfect description of the podcast.
And
once a year, Michael makes you watch a Pixar movie, and you're like, fine.
He does.
We get our pixels fix in. Yeah.
He's very good about that because I'm really bad about that. And I feel like each one of our episodes is almost like a college thesis in some bizarre topic in animation.
Yes.
But it's a lot of fun. Feel free to check us out. I'm also on another podcast sometimes on this network called Why Not Futurama with Andy DiGenova, also about animation.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Scotty. And then Michael, where else can we find you these days?
Yeah, well, thanks again for having me on as well. And Scotty talked about From Pencils to Pixels, the podcast that we do together. And Andy was a guest on our most recent episode. So keep an eye out and ear out for that. And you can also hear me over at Disorder, Every Disney Film, with Andy and Hunter Fagan. That podcast has kind of gone on a bit of a hiatus, but there are the episodes that we've recorded since 2017 that are out there if you'd like to listen. And for anything and everything I've got going on, head over to my website, wordsfromlions.com. That's lyons.com. And you can read my articles and my blog and see what projects I've been working on and learn more about my two books, Drawn to Greatness, Disney's Animation Renaissance and Magic Moments, Stories, Lessons, and Memories from a 20-year career at Walt Disney World, all over at wordsfromlions.com. So thanks again for having me on.
Oh, always a pleasure having both of you on. So thank you guys as always. I already told you where to find me on social media, but if you want to find me in person, just look for me at Taco Bell. I'll be the one in the corner with the Batman cup. That'll be me. But anyway,
oh my gosh, you should totally go into the local Taco Bell and said, the commercial said free refills.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and fill this up. We'll be fine. And could you put some cinnamon twists in this $50 bag I bought, please?
It's free. It said it was free.
But anyway, thank you guys as always for joining us. Please do follow or subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcast. Something else you can do to support us that doesn't cost a penny, it just takes a minute or two, is to rate and review us, especially on Apple Podcasts, but wherever. A 5-star review would be awesome. It would make me feel good, and I would really appreciate that. You can find the show on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Just search for Holy BatCast. And if you got something for the Wayne Manor mailbox, again, that email address is holybatcast@rf4rm.com. Check out our friends over at Magic Mind. Go to magicmind.com/holybatcast20 to save a little bit money on your Magic Mind. And a big thank you to our composer, Gaurav Venkateswar. He did our theme music. You can find his work at gvtunes.com. And that'll do it for this episode. Thanks again for joining us. On behalf of Scotty and Michael, I've been Andy. We'll see you next time. Same bat time, same bat channel. Holy BatCast is not affiliated with Warner Brothers or DC Entertainment. The views and opinions shared by the participants are theirs and theirs alone and do not represent the companies or organizations they happen to work for. Okay, so who wants to meet me at Taco Bell? I think I can slip out the back door. Catherine will never need to know.
I'll be there in 3 days.
Right.
Perfect. Do they still stay open to like 2 a.m? Because I'll tell you, Taco Bell hits different after midnight.
Yes.
Right. In more ways than one.
Yes.
I'm still fine. They don't hurt me.
I'll be like, I'll take a burrito supreme and a Prilosec. You still sell that here at Taco Bell?
I haven't had
those
Taco Bell
those come in free in a free little Batman bag.